Welcome to the 1-year review of my 2010 Audi A4. First of all, before I get started with this video, I want to thank all of my new subscribers for subscribing and a lot of people that have been commenting on the videos and stuff like that. It's really great knowing that these videos are actually helping some people out with choices when it comes to buying these cars and, you know, considering them. So I just want to thank all of my new subscribers for that. Over the course of this video, I'm going to talk about some of the pros and cons of this car, some of the things that I've noticed after having this car for a year now. Some of the pros for this car is the car still drives as great as when it did when I first got it. It hasn't really missed a beat or anything like that. I mean, the car still is very quiet. It's not making any weird creaking and rattling noises or anything like that. And the gas mileage is still decent in this car, even though I have been keeping up with the maintenance of the car, which I'll get into that later on in the video. But the car has been overall really great and I'm still loving this car. Now, this car has also allowed me to meet some really great people in the Audi community that every time that I have had minor issues with the car, wanted to do something to the car, they've always been very helpful in helping me get going and, you know, figure out what I need to figure out when I've had issues with this car, which hasn't been very many. But this video is a bit delayed of when it should have been coming out, which an issue that this car had actually caused that, which I'll get into that a little bit later too. I made a few changes to the car along the way of the year of having it. Nothing really like engine wise, even though I'm kind of contemplating maybe doing an APR stage 1 tune or something like that to the car, maybe an exhaust system and an intake or something like that. I haven't really decided yet, but I have put an RS grill on it, you know, like everybody else that gets these cars puts an RS grill on it. In fact, that was like the first thing I did to this car. Either the RS grill was the first or the carbon fiber rear spoiler. But that brings me into that. It's got a carbon fiber rear spoiler on it from carbonimports.com on Instagram. They're a really great company. So if you're in the market for carbon fiber parts for your A4, I think they also do a couple other cars too. You should check them out. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but really great company. And I also have a carbon fiber front splitter that my girlfriend actually bought for me on the car, which it really makes the car look great. And most of the things that I'll talk about in this video, I've done videos about, so you can check those videos out if you want to see how that stuff goes on or what it really looks like on the car. Even though I'll post like small clips in this video so you can see too. Some of the other things that I have in mind with this car is, maybe in addition to the engine modifications I talked about, is possibly lowering the car, because I don't really like how high the car is and like the wheel gap, which I'll show a picture of that. I don't really like how tall the car kind of seems. I mean, which is something that's kind of a really iffy spot for me, because I love how this car rides, because it rides really comfortable. I mean, I daily drive this car, which I'll get into more when I talk about the mileage and all of that. But I daily drive this car and I do a lot of highway miles and driving places where the roads aren't really the best. But this car handles it really well, and I mean, I really don't want to mess that up, but I would also like for the car to be a little lowered. I know some like cars, oh well, lower is better, you can deal with a few more bumps, but I have another car which you can see right there. That car is very low to the ground, which I'll start making videos about that, but that's my baby right there. You know, this is also my baby, but that's the other baby there. Now, let's get into some of the bad stuff that's happened over the year with this car. Now, that's actually one of the things that caused this video to be late, is that this car came home on a tow truck on its actual 1 year anniversary of the car, me getting it, which was November 4th, and I don't know when this video is coming out, but November 4th, originally planned for this video to come out. But the car came home on a tow truck because the alternator like went out. And that wasn't the first time that the alternators went out in this car. Now, first time the alternator went out in this car, I want to say it was about a month or two after I got the car, which, you know, that doesn't really sound great, but I replaced it with a used alternator from a local junkyard, which it lasted for a little while and then it went out. So I ended up having to replace the other one. But the second one, when it went out, it didn't throw any codes or anything like that, but the first one, it threw a code, told me that the battery wasn't charging, but it was making the car started making a really crazy weird noise when it went out this time, which, you know, it's kind of weird, and that's why I ended up having to get the car on the tow truck. Plus the car wouldn't start because the alternator had literally like seized up, so the car like wouldn't even turn over or anything like that. That was pretty bad. That was the only time that this car has actually left me stranded, was that time, and I was freaking out about it. I mean, this is my daily driver, so You had to be able to get to work and all that, and that's the only time that this car has ever left me stranded, which wasn't good. And the alternator to replace it the second time was $50, and I went back to the same place that I got the first one from, and it was just outside of the warranty period that they gave me for it, and they gave me a nice discount on I'm getting another one. It was $50. I think I paid like $80 the first time for it, so wasn't too bad. But I mean, you shouldn't expect to have to be replacing alternators in your car every couple of months. I mean, because it was about 7 months from the time that the first one went out, so that's not really fun having to do that. And I have the car running right now because heated seats are nice, so if you're hearing like any weird noise, it's the car is running. But you shouldn't. I don't know, maybe you will, maybe you won't, I don't know. I've also had to replace the front brake pads on this car because on this car, and I would assume many other Audis too, it has a sensor that tells you when you need to replace the brake pads. And I'm driving one day, and this was like relatively recently after I got the car too. I think this happened before the first alternator went, but the wire that connects to the car's ECU that tells it when to send codes and all that wire broke, and it kind of freaked me out. And I took the brake pads off, and they really weren't that bad, but ended up just replacing them anyway, getting another set of pads that came with another wire to plug into it so that it wouldn't keep sending the code up in the car, because it's very annoying. But I had to do that. But I mean, I don't think that was really any fault of the car and how it was built or anything like that. It's just something happened, which that wasn't too expensive. Even though I made a mistake of buying AutoZone brake pads, don't do that. Like, please don't do that. They absolutely suck. Like the car doesn't stop as well as it used to anymore. I mean, obviously some people say, oh, well, yeah, you put AutoZone brake pads on your German car, like, whoop-de-doo. But I didn't really know any better at the time. And I mean, for all the other cars that I've had before this, I mean, if they ever needed brake pads, that's what I did. And I never really noticed a difference. But on this car, you definitely notice a difference in how well it stops. And I mean, being able to stop the car is a pretty important thing that you want to be able to do at all times, which it still stops, but it just doesn't stop as well as it used to. So I'm thinking I'm probably gonna go to like Stop Tech rotors and pads, or maybe EVC or something like that. If you have any suggestions, please feel free to leave those down in the comment section down below. I'm really open to it because I want to do something different for the braking setup on this car, because I don't really like the AutoZone pads that are on here now. I mean, they work, but I don't really like how they stop, and I'm pretty sure it's probably time for brakes in the other way. Now, something else that I've also had to replace on this car has been the AC blower motor on this car. I don't know if it was a bad ground on it or something like that, but sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't work, and then eventually it just stopped working altogether. But it went out like in the summertime, so driving around in the summertime, not being able to use AC, so I had to go and replace that. And I found a used one on Craigslist for about $60, and I replaced it. I mean, it wasn't too hard to replace it. I didn't make a video about that because I didn't really see a need to, which in hindsight I probably should have, because I'm sure somebody else is going to have that problem. They're going to know how to change it. But you basically just take the glove box out the car, which I kid you not, are like 20 bolts holding this glove box in, and it's just crazy if they put that many bolts in a glove box. But hey, that's what they do. Holds it in there. That wasn't too difficult. Kind of requires you to get into some weird positions to kind of get at it, but once you get it, it's good. It works fine now. Now, the really bad thing with this car is the oil consumption issue that B8, A4s, Q5s, and the A5, I do believe, to all of the like cars of this year, which like 2009 to 2010 or 12, I believe, have this issue where they like drink oil like it's water, and it's really bad. Like, I didn't really know about it until I got the car, till I started meeting some more people that own these cars, which, like I said before, I met lots of great people that own these cars, and they told me about all of this stuff. This car drinks about, let's say it goes through about a quart of oil every 300 to 400 miles, which obviously isn't good, because if you're going on a road trip, which I recently did, I went through 2 quarts of oil in that road trip with driving this car. That's not really a good thing. And Audi got sued behind this, because obviously your car shouldn't be going through oil like that. And there was an extended warranty and all that was a part of the lawsuit and all that, which I'll make a full video explaining the whole oil consumption issue with these cars, but I'm just gonna briefly touch over my experience with it. If you get these cars and you don't, hurry up and have this stuff done. Now, I paid for the oil consumption test, which turned out to be about 300 and something odd dollars to pay for this oil consumption test, just to have Audi basically tell me that because my car was about 200 to 300 miles outside of the extended warranty, which is 8 years or 80,000 miles, that I'm basically out of luck. And they told me that because I seem like I'm interested in the brand, that they would do the work for replace the piston rings and pistons for $1,400, which I think that's kind of like really crappy of Audi to do that. I mean, yeah, okay, yeah, you're giving me a deal, but I mean, it's your problem and you didn't fix the problem like to begin with, and you let this problem slip, and now you're trying to get money out of customers, even though yes, the car was past the warranty. But I mean, it's still something that they should do, that they should fix, without me having to come out with any more money after already coming out with out of pocket $300 for this oil consumption test, basically just to tell me something that I already knew. Like, I already knew that the car was consuming oil. I mean, I carry around a quart of oil in the car like as it is because I know that it consumes oil. So I had to pay for a test basically just to tell me what I already knew, which wasn't really good. But like I said, I'll make a full video about that whole situation and explaining that, so if someone's in the market for one of these cars, they know that's something you want to look out for if you're going to get one of these cars. Make sure it's already had that done, or if you get the car, it's under 80,000 miles, which my car was when I got it, which is something that I tried to tell Audi. Well, I mean, the car was under 80,000 miles. It was right over 71,000 miles when I first got this car. So get that done if you buy one of these cars and it's under 80,000 miles, because Audi's going to send you through all types of loops. I've heard some people on the forum saying that they were able to get it past it. Some people like me, like you're a couple hundred miles over and they're basically telling you, no, up, give us the money and we'll do it. So like I said, I'll make a full-on video about that, but just something I want to touch on in this video because that is a serious problem with this car. That is by far the worst problem with this car and these cars like this in general. So just something to consider if you're in the market for one of these cars. I've also done the normal maintenance on this car, which again, I've made videos about, like changing spark plugs, coil packs, which I got the coil packs from ECS, and they're the nice fancy red ones, and you know, they add about like 20 horsepower or so per coil. So now this car's making like stupid horsepower gains and all that crap, which made a video on that if you want to see how that goes and how you do that. Really straightforward. I've also changed the engine air filter, which I was gonna make a video about that and I started recording it, but I didn't really like how that was coming out. But I'll throw some of the clips here so you can kind of see how that process went. I mean, it's fairly easy, but it's just something that I had to do for the car. It works. And like then too, all of the videos that I've made about this car that I've talked about will also be in the description box down below. They'll be linked down below so you can easily see those videos. Now, overall, I really do love this car, and it's a really great car. Like, once you can get past things like the oil consumption. I mean, I feel like the alternators is kind of a isolated situations. I've talked to a few people that I know that have these cars and they've never really had those issues. So I think it was maybe just me and I just got a bad apple or something like that, which that's not really bad. I mean, it was a used car, so you expect things to go wrong in a used car. But I really do love this car. And I don't want this video to seem like I'm kind of bashing this car or it's not been great over the last year, because it really has. Compared, like, for what this car is, it's been really great. I mean, it's been reliable. Like I said, it's only let me down once, which, I mean, no one really wants to be let down by their car. I mean, that's why we buy cars, so they can be reliable and take us where we got to go. But when I first got this car, it had, like I said before, right over 71,000 miles. And as of recording this video, this car has 98,443 miles on it. So they got all those miles on it in just a year, or a little bit over a year now, because it's past that time when I'm recording this video, but still in the same month. So I do drive this car a lot. I really do love this car. It's a great car if you're in the market for one. I would definitely tell you to get it, but make sure it's had the oil change worked out. And I can't really say anymore. Like, I really love this car. And I mean, I take it to car shows now. And I mean, that's something that I used to always go to car shows, but I never took my own car to car shows. But I take this one to car shows and I really love it. I mean, which I'll include some pictures here in like the the video of the Audi Exchange car show I did. My car was actually in that car show, so you can go check that video out if you want. Lots of cool cars like actually were at that show, not just mine, but lots of other cool cars. Not that my car is cool, but it is kind of cool. I like it. That's gonna be it for this video. Thumbs up if you liked it, subs if you loved it. Thanks for watching.